Rick is ready to go.
If I can have everyone's attention again, we'll continue our post-race media availability here at Dover International Speedway following the AAA 400. We welcome race winner Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Cobalt Tools Chevrolet. This is Jimmie's 65th victory, 5th victory of 2013, 8th victory here at Dover, which breaks the tie with Richard Petty and Bobby Allison. Jimmie, talk a little bit about that victory and just the historic moment being here today.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm not sure I've ever done anything that Richard Petty hasn't. So to get this 8th win here is very, very special. And truthfully, it was the first thought that went through my mind when I crossed the finish line. And it wasn't long after I thought about the impact of winning in the chase and wondering where the 20 was and all of that. So a big day, but you know, I came so close in the spring to getting this 8th win here and had that slip away, and it was nice to get it done today.
Also joining us is Crew Chief Chad Knaus. Sorry.
Easy for you to say.
Wow. Crew Chief Chad Knaus. Talk a little bit about just being here with Jimmie, this win. Obviously, after 3 races in the chase, only 8 points behind Matt Kenseth now, shaping up to be quite a battle for you guys. A little bit about your strategy today and moving ahead in the chase.
Yeah, this is obviously a great racetrack for us. Jimmie has really taken to this place starting back in 2002 when we first came. So it's pretty spectacular every time I hear Jimmie's name mentioned in the same sentence as guys like Richard Petty and Bobby Allison and Dale Earnhardt Sr. and all those guys that have done so well throughout the history of our sport. And to be able to one-up those guys right now is pretty spectacular. So very proud to be a part of the 48 team, and you know, we had a great race car. It wasn't the easiest weekend for us. We had to work hard, and Jimmie used a lot of his knowledge and his veteran skills to guide us where we needed to be to start the race today.
We'll open up for questions for Jimmie and Chad. We'll start in the back, in the middle with Dustin, then go to Jeff.
Dustin Long, Motor Racing Network. Chad, I wanted to ask you, this is the first time in 7 races that you guys have outscored Kenseth in a race. Now, I know that you guys have both said, look, you know, it's about how you've run at times. It's not about all the finishes that you've gotten in some of these races. But at the end of the day, what kind of significance is there in the sense that you've actually beaten them in a race head-to-head now for the first time in over a month? What does that mean for you guys? What does that mean to be able to say that to your team instead of just saying, hey, we're running better? You know, now you have tangible evidence that you're beating them on the track.
Who are you talking about again? Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, it's good. You know, and the fact of the matter is this. I feel like that in Chicago, if we hadn't had a botched up little pit stop there at the first part of the race, some of our doing, some of a little of assistance, I feel like that we could have won the race in Chicago, which we're hoping to do at some point before I retire. I feel like last week in Loudon, if we could have ever gotten control of the event, which we had great opportunity and really got jumbled up on some restarts and couldn't quite get to where we needed to, we could have beaten them there. So I feel like that we had cars capable of winning the first 2 races, much like what the 20 and the 18 did. Coming into this event, we felt like that we had a good race car, brought the same race car back that we had in the spring, and we obviously ran really well in the spring. So being able to come in here, qualify respectably, go out there, lead the most laps, and win the race, I think speaks volumes about this team. And the way that we're doing right now is we're just trying to establish a foundation and set ourselves up for the second half of the chase. And as long as we do that, I think we're going to be where we need to be.
We'll take our next question from Jeff, then come back up to Holly.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. This is for Chad also. When you realized that, sorry, I'm back here.
There you are.
When you realized that behind you, not too far behind you, was somebody on 4 tires, I assume that you were thinking there was going to be maybe a bigger buffer. Did you feel like you had enough laps that they wouldn't factor in, or did you think, oh, we're screwed, or what?
Second part. No, here's the situation. If you look back over the history of this race, and we even saw it at the beginning of the event today, the 18 car was able to go out there on 2 tires, establish a lead on 2 tires versus the guys on 4. It took 27 laps for somebody to catch the 18 car and pass them. We felt like that with 20-something laps to go in this race that we would probably be okay if we could make it happen. Now, fortunately enough for the 88, they were able to get broken free of the guys who were on 2 tires pretty quickly. But we did a lot of due diligence yesterday trying to understand where our car was and what we needed to do with the Cobalt Chevrolet to make it fast for Jimmie if we did get ourselves in a position where we needed to do 2 tires. And I'm glad that we did that. We understood what we needed to do, and we made those changes, and Jimmie actually told me after the race that he felt like that was the best the car was on the short run. So we ran our fastest laps right there at the end of the race on 2 tires. We ran some 2350s, which was really, really fast. We worked hard, and we tried to understand what we were needed to do for strategy, and fortunately enough, it paid off for us. I really was surprised. I really thought more people would have taken 2 tires towards the end of the race, especially a lot of the guys a little bit further back. We had seen some guys early in the race take 2 tires, get the track position, be able to maintain that without having clean air. So I expected a little bit more of a buffer. But I'll be honest, when Stevie and those guys took 4 tires, I was like, damn, that was a missed opportunity. We should have taken 4. But it definitely paid off for us.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Holly. Go ahead.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. This is for you, Jimmie, and it's actually a fairly similar question, but if you could just talk about what was going through your mind knowing that, you know, Junior had the 4 tires and he was pretty racy today and said, you know, this is one of the best cars he's had all season.
Yeah, he was fast. I'm not sure how much his I saw him miss pit road earlier in the race, and that couldn't have helped their overall cause, but you know, he worked his way back around and up into the mix of things there. And what I saw of his car on 4 tires earlier in the race, he was pretty quick, and that was really our weakest point, was the first 5 to 10 laps, and then our car would come in and was incredibly fast at that point. And you know, I didn't want to lose control at the end of the race with 20-some to go and all that, so the pressure was on. And I mean, I ran my guts out to stay ahead of him. And any switch I could flip in the car that was a fan that might help the car turn, my brake bias, anything I could twist, turn, pull, push, I did, and then just drove the shit out of that thing, and was able to keep them at bay for, you know, 10, 12 laps. And then at that point, I was able to stretch a little bit and get back to running a smart race. But that opening 10, 12 laps was really a pressure-packed situation.
Okay, we'll go to the left here with Randy, then go over to Bob.
Yes, this is for Chad. Randy Kovitz, Kansas City Star. Not only is Jimmie the all-time winner here, he's the all-time winner at like 7 tracks, you know, Charlotte and Indy, Kansas. Can you just kind of talk what that speaks to, that you're able to, it's just not, you know, a one-trick pony?
No, he's definitely not. The man's got a lot of skills. It's been an honor to be able to work with Jimmie over the course of the years, and I think that he's able to pull out some things that are pretty spectacular. He's able to dig a little bit deeper and pull out his cape and make things happen in some of the waning moments of these races that other people just cannot do. And it's pretty spectacular. I've seen a lot of great drivers. I've worked with a lot of great drivers, and knowing what we've got sitting behind the seat is always just a little bit of confidence, knowing that if you just get close, if you just make the right call at the right time, that he's going to be able to carry the ball. And once again, I think Jimmie is probably the most underrated champion that we have in this industry. He is by far and above the most powerful driver over the course of the last 25, 35 years in this sport. So it's pretty fun being able to work with him.
Okay.
I love you too, babe.
Tears are going to be flowing up here in a minute. Go ahead and take our next question from Bob.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. For Jimmie, was there any part of the fact that for a while there you, Kyle, and Matt were top 3, and for most of the race you all were somewhere in the top 5? Any part of that, either a kind of a motivational, gives you more motivation or more drive to do better, and it was any part of that just a cool factor that the kind of the 3 guys who've broken away in this thing are duking it out in that position?
You know, I was thinking about it when I was in the car, and my whole thought process was just how tough this championship's going to be. You know, they're bringing their best and doing their best, and it's you've got to deliver. And that was my mindset when I was racing with both of those guys for 3/4 of the race. You know, it didn't surprise me, and it just confirmed what I think we've all been kind of feeling and thinking about, is that those guys, they're both in a great position and going to be in it for the long haul. So from myself, from a mental standpoint, that's the area where I thrive. When we get into long runs and a tough, demanding track where, it's not easy to get around this place. A long, tough championship, I really feel like I operate better. The more painful it is and the harder it is, that's where I seem to do my best work. I don't like it. I don't enjoy that experience, but I've always done a better job and have surprised myself through those moments. And, it was like that in this race today, and I think it's going to be more so of that in the coming races and into the checkered flag and Homestead.
Additional questions? A follow-up, Bob?
So in that light, how important was it for you to win on a day where it appeared you probably had a little better car than both of them?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to win when you're at your best tracks. So that being said, we had to win here today, but I think any points on the 18 or the 20 would have been a very good day. Max points, it's an awesome day. So, again, it's just relative, and it's a little early to play that game, too much right now. But there's a point in the season where you just worry about who's leading or who's behind you if you're the leader and beating them. And so that mindset would have been there if we ran second to junior today. Still would have been very happy to outrun the 20 or the 18, but we need to win at our best tracks, and we did that.
Next question, David.
Yeah, David Newton, ESPN.com. You touched on it earlier about the mistake that Junior had on pit road. He mentioned he felt like that might have been the difference in him being able to have that clean air and being up front there at the end because of the spots he lost in. You think that was really significant? And did you feel also that you pissed off a lot of people today by beating Junior?
It doesn't matter. I piss them off regardless. Just me breathing pisses off some of them. So, it certainly affected his day. I mean, to lose track position like that, it without a doubt affected his day. And I'm not sure at the end with strategy how things would have played out. I think he was in second behind us on that run, so it's hard to say if it really would have made a difference, but it didn't help his cause at all.
Any final questions for Jimmie? Okay, we'll take one from Lee and then go back to Jeff.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. The fact that you guys share a shop with the 88, Junior says these are the cars. These are the best his cars have ever been. Do you guys feel the same way, that your cars are just right at the top right now?
Bristol, no. Richmond, no. Dover, yes. It's funny because each track has its own demands, and I feel like, here, the way we performed at Martinsville earlier in the year, we've been able to really refine and hone in on specific tracks. But the bigger, faster tracks, I feel really good about our equipment. And then the way we ran in New Hampshire, as Chad pointed out, we had an awesome pit stop, came off pit road in third, and the 9 and the 15 stayed out, put us in a position not to have control of the front row, which we thought would have been the leader. Those guys stayed out. I think we could have won is what I'm getting at from that. If we would have even lined up fourth, if we would have had a bad stop and Matt beat us and been fourth, I think we would have gotten through those guys and had a chance to win. So the short tracks, the Loudon Phoenix has been a concern for us, but the way we ran in Loudon, and we honestly feel we had a shot to win there, that'll carry right over to Phoenix. So we've got a good lineup of races ahead.
Okay, go ahead with your question, Jeff.
For Jimmie, I don't know if this really makes up for what happened in the spring, but does it make it feel at all a little bit better just to come back to the same place where you were so disappointed and pissed?
It doesn't change that too much. I mean, it's nice to win and not have something like that take it away. I'm just happy that there's been a rule change to the restarts. I mean, that was a long time coming and needed to happen. So, that situation can't happen again, and happy about that. But it still stings. It's funny. I can remember probably the majority of the races that we should have won, and I think drivers are like that. I mean, you just hate little stupid things that keep you from getting to victory lane.
Okay, final question, Jim, in the very back.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. I'd like each of you to answer. You both have competed against Matt in previous chases, but this is the first time you've competed against him with him at Gibbs. Can you just talk about what do you see, if anything, different about him this season, and how that is shaping up in this championship battle?
He's always been incredible at scoring points and getting the most out of his race car on a given weekend. He doesn't let emotions rattle him much. So that part of Matt has always been a consistent thing. You know, in his previous life at Roush, there were certain tracks you go to that you just wouldn't think about him. You know, Martinsville would be one, and I'd tease him and harass him all the time about how he looked on the track. And we were there testing one time and had some good laughs about it all. But you know, I say that, and we go there in this spring, and I think he ran top 5 or something. So, you know, the change has been good for him. Is it equipment? Is it just a personnel thing and working with someone new and different in that relationship? I don't know where it lies, but I think, you know, Matt, the bottom side, you know, the tracks where Matt struggled at for whatever reason, I think that has risen and he's more competitive on those tracks than he was at the Roush side of life.
All right, gentlemen, congratulations on your win. Or did you want Chad to comment, Jim?
Matt's good. He is. He's good. There's no doubt about it. You know, I really enjoy racing with Matt. He's a good driver. He's a clean driver. He understands where he's at on the racetrack at different points. Today, a couple times, we were faster than him, and he understood. And he really gets it. He gets it more than most of the drivers out there. Like, he knows when to get the hell out of the way. He knows when he has the best car and he needs to take advantage of that. He knows what to do. And I had a lot of respect for Matt when we finished second in the championship to him a few years ago, and his father and Matt both came up to me and they were like, man, you guys really, we wanted to win, but you guys were definitely the best. And it was pretty spectacular. You know, Matt's a good dude. He really is. I like racing against Matt, but I think going to Gibbs has given him better equipment. I think the Roush stuff isn't as good as what they've got at Gibbs, but it's going to be interesting to see that dynamic between Kyle and Matt as they get a little bit further down the road. If Matt keeps beating Kyle, we'll see what happens. It's going to be fun to see. And write something positive, Jim. Don't write about how the ratings are down and all that kind of stuff. Let's see something positive from Jim Utter this week, all right? All right.
On that note, congratulations on your win today, guys. And on that note, inspection is clear in the Sprint Cup Series garage.